Oh, goodness, it has been a heck of a morning. So, I had to make a new electrolyzer setup, and I went all through this in the live stream, figuring out all the math and exactly what I would need. And when I first set this up, it didn't work. The electrolyzer kicked on for a second, and then it kicked off. And I was going through my head. This was the first time I tried to record this video. By the way, hi, welcome back to Surviving GT6 Season 3. That was the first time I tried to record this video. And so I was thinking, well, maybe I gave it too much power. Let me go through the numbers again. So I went through the numbers. I was like, man, I've got almost twice the amount of power that I need. I'm going to try to hook it up with just one boiler and see if maybe somehow I misunderstood the numbers. So then I recorded a second video with just one boiler hooked up, and I couldn't get the electrolyzer to turn on. I was like, did I somehow mess up the electrolyzer that it, should have blown up or something? I don't know. So I sat here and I went through the numbers, and I actually put them here in chat so we have the exact numbers. And come to find out, it's the same old thing that bit me in the ass many years ago, and I should have known it. My initial setup was right. But the pipes sloshing and fighting each other was the problem. We didn't end up with it over here, but we did end up with it here. So this is my public announcement. Whenever setting up multiple boilers, use a tank extender. Always use a tank extender. It works as a one-way valve. The steam has to go from here in and up, from here in and up. They will not fight each other. In this setup, the pipe must be big enough, and we must be giving it enough that it's able to work itself out and it's not close to the maximum of the turbine. So it fluctuating a little bit isn't a big deal. This is ran way too close to the bone, because you will see down here we are giving it 512 steam, and the turbine we're using can only handle 576. So if for some reason the steam is sloshing and fighting itself and it goes over that 576 because it went under the tick before, that's going to turn off that turbine because it's over powered. And I think that is what happened. So by doing it this way, we guarantee that we have 512 going through there every tick, and it's never going to be over. So now let's actually explain what it is we're doing today. So we processed Colton, and from our Colton, we have gotten Columbite, Colton, and Tantalite. And the Colton, which I have over here running in our centrifuge, is taking two of them and giving us one Tantalite and one Colton. It takes 28 RU a tick to do this. This is enough to take care of that. So as you can see, it is running. And in the live stream, we set this up because there are some things that come through processing that give off dust. We had black granite dust up here in our box for a while, and I'm not sure what it was that gave it out, but I do know there's a few things that do give that kind of stuff. So we set this up so that any tiny dust will come through this pipe out into our barrel wall pipe and not end up in this chest. And then we also set up this Ordic filter for dust, so we can do things like this in here, and it will get sent out. Now, one thing I do need to do, because if for some reason we get back up, which we shouldn't have a problem with, but could happen, is I really need to take this pipe out and put a extender there that'll make it to where it can't try to force it into this hopper. And I'm thinking that that might be a possibility, but I'm not positive. But you can see we've gotten, I had this at empty at 0 basically because I had them all in to go up there. We now have 173, 174, and we got 276 of these because I hadn't taken all of them out. And, well, the Colton's gone because they're all up there. So, long story long, if we come up here, this is running our Columbite, which if we look at the uses for it in an electrolyzer, we need a minimum of 112. We can have up to, if I can get the MB, there we go, MB electrolyzer, we can have a maximum of 256 EU in this electrolyzer. So we had to do aluminum before we could do this because it had to be MB. And we now have pyrolusite and niobium pentoxide. You get 1 pyrolusite and 7 niobium pentoxide from each of these recipes. So I'm going to throw in, it does 8 of them. So 32. And that'll give us an exact for that. And then we need to move the tantalum in and do it next. But now this niobium pentoxide, we need to bathe in molten aluminum, 3.333 units of it, to give us 2 niobium and 4 molten aluminium. So 3 of this process will give us back an extra ingot because of the 333. So we have 3 of these. That's not enough to get what we actually need, but we can go ahead and get this started. We're going to need about 4, 3, 6, 9. So we're going to take about 10 aluminum. And let's go try this out. Now, today we're only doing the Columbite. We'll do the Tantalite next, but I will go ahead and do the first part of it, the electrolyzing part, to get the tantalum pentoxide next time, or on my own between, because that part is going to be the exact same as this part. And I will do a video that explains all of this once we get everything set up, because this is going to be quite the excursion getting all this done. But we're going to throw that in there, and we need to get a ceramic pot, should work for this. And we're going to turn this on. There we go. And heat up that 10 aluminum. And this is going to be way easier than the alumina, because the alumina needs a lot of temperature. The aluminum is way lower. I think it's like 500 or something. And once we get a proper smelter, once we get through all of this and get the tungsten, then we won't have to do this anymore. But for this first one, this is what we have to do. This is the new change for getting niobium. So as soon as this thing heats up here, which I'm actually wondering here if it has, because there's a chance there was some alumina left in there. Where is my... see, we're at 800. That should be heated up. Oh, there we go. And I didn't turn off the... So apparently it's 900, not 500. Alright, we gotta fix that. We're trying to do this on the setup for doing alumina, because we actually want this to pour into that mold. Maybe I shouldn't do this in the same place, but it's what I'm trying at the moment. Alright, so I need to throw this all back in here and melt it again. And now we know that it's actually aluminum in there. I think for the rest of this, I'm going to make a second. Do I have another? Yeah, I have another ingot mold. I think I might set up another crucible to do this and just set it here, honestly. Let's move this over here. This isn't going to change the fact that it still needs to be turned off, but I just want to try doing it over here instead of over there. The mold is for it to output the alumina, which is why I was doing it there. Alright, turn that off. We need this, and then we need to grab that and put it in there. And there is the molten aluminum. We need to grab the rest of it and put it in there. And now it's bathing the niobium pentoxide. And it's going to give us molten alumina and our actual niobium dust. Beautiful. That's what we need. Alright. Now, I do have to say, I don't know the actual chemistry behind this. But this would have to be one hell of an energetic process. If we're going from a temperature of 5 or 900-ish. Let's look here. If we look at aluminum dust, it melts at 933. Alumina melts at 2345. In my opinion, this should give out dust, because that is way too freaking hot. Unless this is one hell of an energetic process. Somebody else can tell me if, it's that much of an energetic process that it's going to give out. If it's going to have enough to give out molten alumina. But I think it should be dust. Honestly. But that gives us niobium. So we need to do this one more time, so we can get the 12 we need. And then we need to do the tantalum one, which is way more of a mess. So we need to throw this alumina in, this alumina in here and get this turned back on so it can turn our aluminum, our alumina back into aluminum. And we need to run that process back through again. So once we actually get a smelter, we can do this process and automate it. But unfortunately, right now, we have to do this all by hand, and this is just about done. So I need to get, we'll just grab 32 of them and throw them in there so it can start on that. But that is how you get your first niobium. Well, this is how you're going to get all of it eventually, but just automated. So now I can throw this back in here, and I can do this again, and we'll have enough to do our crucible and our mold, which is what we're working on, in case anybody doesn't already know. If we go into the quests and we go to the crucible, so Columbite mysteries, we need niobium pentoxide. I need to read through this to make sure that, everything is saying what it's supposed to, but I do believe it is. I trust Chubby. But basically, we need to get a meteoric crucible into a niobium crucible, which we now have our niobium dust. So that will unlock this quest for the niobium crucible as soon as the one is done for the meteoric, which we're going to do all of them together. We have our meteorites that we've been collecting and saving right here. So we'll have to make a meteoric steel crucible. But we will do that after we get all of our niobium and tantalum. Let's go ahead and throw in this here, and I will finish getting this done. And then our next step is the tantalite. So this is what we're working on next, is getting to the tantalum. So we need tantalum pentoxide, which is going to be done exactly the same way. That's what we just started a minute ago there. But I will leave you guys here, and we will work on getting the tantalum in the next one. Y'all have a good one. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will do a proper video trying to explain all of this in one once we get it all done. Later.